friends. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Fort Worth Roots. This is a local podcast focused on our community's creators, and you can find us on all your favorite streaming services, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Pandora, Spotify, whatever you're getting your podcast on. You can find us there. Our website, you can stream it straight off of there at fortworthroots.com. And there are YouTube videos that go along with this, so you can find that by going to YouTube and looking for Fort Worth Roots. Not every single episode that we've put out has a video, but almost all of them. I think it's like 77 or 78 videos to go along with these episodes. And if you are on Instagram, check us out. It's Fort Worth Roots. We'd love for you to follow us on there. Anytime we got anything going on, we're very active on Instagram. So if you got an Instagram, check us out, Fort Worth Roots. We have not one, but 2.5 incredible guests today. One guest has been on the show before. He's ran 35 car shows in the local area and abroad. He's the owner of Roofing Solutions by Darren Houk. Our other guest has a local metalworking business called Woodpost Metalworks. She also puts together pop-up events through the Artful Village. She has 2 more events that we haven't missed yet. And you can find more information about those events at facebook.com/Artful Village. And about halfway through this recording, we have a special guest. Mark Nobles joins us via cell phone. Thanks for joining us, Mark. Call anytime. In this episode, we're going to talk about Battle of the Beards. It was, I believe, the last event they had out there at the original Lolas location. We are going to talk about pop-up markets with the Artful Village. Again, that's facebook.com/Artful Village for more information. We're also going to get tips on how to set up a booth properly for a pop-up market as a vendor. We talk about the learnable moments from the first annual Oaks Springfest Carshow with the man that put it all together. But before we get into that, this has been a fairly intense weekend, so I just wanted to let all of our listeners know that we try to put these videos out congruently. Like when I release the podcast for a new episode, I have the video up on YouTube. I'm not going to get to that tonight, but I will make sure that that's up Tuesday at latest. I'm going to get hot on that quick. Make sure you got the video and have that at your disposal ASAP. Shout out to our Patreon patrons. Justin Matinta has made a monetary contribution to this show for 23 months, and Angela Walker has been with us since this past February. Thank y'all for making a monetary contribution through the Patreon app. I appreciate it. You guys are the future of the show. Special event alert. I know if you've been listening to the last few episodes here on Fort Worth Roots, you know that we have been talking about the 100th episode release party that we are in the process of putting together for you, and I do have a teaser of an update at the end of this episode. So if you have time, listen to the end, and I got a little bit of information on that. But the event I want to tell you about today is the 100th episode release party for our friends at the Funky Panther podcast. On July 15th, join our friends at Panther Island Brewing at 6 p.m. for local Fort Worth podcast fun. We are proud of our friends at TFP and are looking forward to their 1,000th episode party at Times Square next year. Cheers, dudes. But seriously, go check them out. It's going to be a fun event. And, you like local podcasts here in Fort Worth. These guys have been named #1 podcast in Fort Worth through Fort Worth Weekly 3 years in a row. So, okay, last time I'll say it. Last time I'll say it this episode. July 15th, join our friends, Panther Island Brewing. Starts at 6 p.m. Lots of shenanigans. As more information comes out, we'll be sure to share that with you on the Facebook page and in future episodes. Okay, I think I covered everything. Please give it up for our guests today, Micki Windle and Darren Houk. Thank y'all for being here. Let's start the show.
Is that good?
That's perfect.
I sound louder now.
Why does she sound so echoey or so like she's far away? Is that her voice?
I don't know. That might have been where the microphone was a minute ago.
Well, I can see.
I don't know that I care.
I don't hear that.
How does she sound now? Try your voice out.
Testing 1 2 3.
And Darren?
Testing 1 2 3.
It's way better, isn't it?
Yeah. I like that.
Oh, my word.
All right, so I'm here today with Darren Houk and Micki Windle. Excuse me. I did that at lunch with Mark Noble's name. I was sitting there, and I was trying to think of Mark's name, and I just totally blanked. Like, Jesus Christ, I've interviewed the guy. I've read 2 of his books. I should be able to remember that name, but we're here at the Houk residence. We tried to pull this off at Roofing Solutions by Darren Houk, which is right down the street, and we had a technical difficulty with the air conditioner. So
air conditioning's gone out, and Mark doesn't know it yet. You'll find out in the morning when he shows up to work.
We're secretly hoping there's some kind of like Mark Noble's plug-in that he knows how to make
some
it work.
trickery.
Yeah.
Right.
Or a remote control or something.
He knows some magic, so hopefully he knows that.
But you're a smart man, and you keep your office right down the street from your house, so this worked out perfect.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So over the past, 3 or 4 months, I've just been driving the listeners nuts talking about River Oaks Springfest Carshow nonstop. So we'll start with Micki.
Okay.
I want to talk about this event that you went to as the last event that they're actually having at Lolas, and you and your husband forefronted this, right? This was y'all's event.
We helped out with it. We didn't run it completely. It's part of the North Texas Beard Alliance, it's a club that we're part of. And I helped with the vendor side of it. So they had a competition side, they had DJs, they had a whole event there, but I helped out with some of the vendors. So and my husband and I set up a booth there as well. But It was a beard competition, and they had a mullet contest. They had a freestyle beard contest where these guys put face wax in their not face wax, beard wax in their beard, and made all kind of crazy shapes. They had we made Darren enter in the business beard category, which is I think 1 inch off the face is the longest it can be.
And you got second or third?
My husband got my husband got second place in the red beard category.
Okay.
So they had Texas red beard, and he got second place. So we were very proud of that. That is currently hanging in the living room right now.
There were beards there that made ZZ Top look like nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was incredible.
There was one man that had a beard below his knees, and he was telling somebody that he's been in 27 commercials. He's been in 4 movies. And I was like, okay, so how many wizards have you played? Because that's the only thing I could think of you playing at this point.
Yeah, that warrants a little bit
Solid
of a
white
discussion.
and went down to his knees. I've never seen
It was
anything like
impressive.
that.
It was impressive.
So just straight wizard.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so. I didn't get a full conversation with him, but that's all I can think of is he's got to be playing wizards.
Yeah, I mean, and then what commercial would you be in? Definitely
I
not
don't
any
know.
kind of food product.
No, I'd hope not. I would hope not.
Yeah, there's a guy there that looked kind of like Wild Bill Hickok. That
He
had
said-
been
he
in
said that he was-
1883 and
Yes, he said that he was a professional extra for some company in Dallas, and he'd done a bunch of westerns, and he was in the new 1883 that they did
Oh, cool.
down in the stockyards.
So really, all I have to do, I don't have to be talented. Well, and I'm not saying these guys aren't talented, but it sounds like if I wanted to get my foot in the door, I don't have to really brush up on any skills. I just need to let this go.
Yeah, you just need to let it go just a little bit, trim it a little bit.
and you would have had a very good
Business beard for sure.
run at the business beard. Yes, I was thrown in there with no intentions whatsoever, and so I didn't place. But yours looks better
No special
than
grooming.
some of the winners if they're not listening.
It's okay if they are. They just know that they're lucky that I didn't show up with my business beard.
That's right. That's right.
But it was a great event. It was a complete charity event that helped Center for Transforming Lives in Fort Worth, which is a women's shelter in Fort Worth.
Okay.
So all of the proceeds went to that.
That's very
And there were a lot of cool vendors there. That's what Micki does a lot of. She puts on pop-up markets, a lot of different places where people will hire her to come set up, get the booths and all that, and she's got the vendors lined up. But I guess most of those vendors were, some of them were lined up because they were beard related, instead of her normal people that show up knowing that if she's doing it, it's worth going to.
Right.
So what other events do you have coming up in the near future that maybe people can look forward to?
So in June 25th, we have, I run what we call the Artful Village, and right now we're going to have one at the River Oaks Community Center in June, October, and December.
Okay.
And then we'll have Springfest back in April again. So every season we'll have something in River Oaks for people to come and vend at and shop at. But the one in June, you can go to facebook.com/Artful Village, and our application is there with indoor and outdoor, and it's all handmade vendors. I don't accept MLMs or any other, it's all handmade things that artists or people that have made by hand.
Okay.
So
How about podcasters?
you're welcome to come.
Fourth
You're
Roots
welcome
is
to come
always
anytime.
welcome.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm sorry I missed out on the the beard event. It was the last one at Lolas. That would have been really cool to come to. But I was telling Darren, who apparently has not seen the latest episode yet. But
we were razzing
I'm not letting that hurt me. I'm not letting that hurt my feelings.
I look for it every Monday, and I just kind of don't feel like this is Monday.
It is Memorial Day, so that is important.
Trust me, I looked at the analytics this morning. I was like, yeah, that's everybody is checked out.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yes.
They're not on their regular Monday schedule, you know.
Well, I will promise you the sun will not go down before I've heard that.
Listen,
so I apologize.
It's there. That's a great thing about podcasts. It's there whenever you're ready. You don't have to.
That's the truth.
When you're talking about your event in June, that's actually like a 4th of July. It's like the last.
It is. It's the last weekend before the 4th of July weekend. So it's going to be a 4th of July, like summer themed event. And I really like pulling in new vendors that have never really done vendor shows before and helping out newbies. And so that's the type of vendors I try to target for these type of shows, because we can work through setups. We can work through how to, if you've never done a vendor event before as a vendor, it's difficult to work through how to put your booth together, how to sell your items, things like that. And I like working with new people like that.
When you've got a lot of vendors that have been working with you for years now with the Artful Village, and
they take people under their wing all the time too.
Exactly,
they're like little mama bears.
Helping people with displays of, if you put that in the back and put this in the front, you're going to draw people in, or those kind of things. I've witnessed them.
Don't just set your stuff on a table.
Giving tips out and those kind of things. Yeah.
Now, I've only been to 2 events so far since with Fort Worth roots, and Springfest was supposed to be the first one that I went to, and last minute, made it Southside, I got invited over to Psychedelic Panther. But anyway, that to say, what I have experienced working with the vendor people that go to these shows is that everybody's pretty helpful.
Yes.
You kind of come together as a team and get through the day, whatever it takes.
You have to make friends with your neighbors.
Yeah,
you have to. Because you have to have bathroom breaks. You're going to have to.
There's that, yeah.
Well, and little things like the Springfest, we had over 100 vendors there, right? Mm-hmm. Had big winds come blowing through there with all of these tents set up.
Yeah.
There's only 2 tents awnings that were picked up and moved across, and they were my wife and some of the people that she works with that don't do these vendor booths and know how to anchor them down. I'm like, don't think you're the only one with the wind, but you should have listened and talked to some of these people out here, these pros here. Nobody lost anything. So
yeah. Angela and her husband helped me out because I was right next to them, and I didn't have enough stakes. So they hooked me up with some really strong, looked like they were from, it's not called Army, Omaha's.
Omaha surplus.
Yeah, it looked like they got it from Omaha's or something. It looked like military grade tent stakes.
Right.
And they had taken some kitty litter containers and filled them up with concrete and let it set, and they had the anchor in the top. So they had their own, I don't even know how much that must weigh, probably 20 to 30 pounds worth of concrete.
Well, and he explained to me that what most people do is they'll take some kind of weight and put it on the ground and then anchor down to that. Well, theirs are actually barely suspended, so every bit of that weight is actually pulling down on it.
Yeah.
That's Houk Walker Originals. We'll plug them because they sure helped a lot with the Springfest.
They did.
For sure they did.
I did all the trophies and everything other than the great best of show that I went on and bragged about Woodpost Metalworks making, and then all of a sudden my sister, I didn't give her credit for them doing such an awesome job on all the other awards.
Well, episode 85 is covering the River Oaks Springfest Carshow, and if the listeners haven't checked that out yet, Angela and her husband have a pretty good chunk of real estate of the video on the YouTube version.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got a little bit of video of him. I'm not really sure what he was doing, but he was working with wood and carving something out. So I got a little video of that, and then there's a long just spot where I just stuck a big picture of them. Him working the wood. Got the banner in the background. So
very cool.
So he brings out. He's a wood turner, so he brings his lathe out to shows, and will turn wood and make bowls, make plates, make all different types of stuff live. Which is so
and
cool.
One of the things he does a lot of is make the little bitty tops
for kids and give them to
then
kids.
He'll sit there and do it and take it off and show a kid how you spin it, and that's a good crowd pleaser there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we gotta talk about it because we're gonna maybe look back on this next season before we start the planning for year 2 of the River Oaks Springfest Carshow. By everybody else's account, it was an absolute success. The people that brought out the cars, the vendors, the people that were there from the community just coming out to support and enjoy the good weather and the 450 acres out there at Camp Carter. It was a success. And I know we've talked about this offline, and you're happy with the way things turned out, but are you still kind of a little bit euphoric that, everything turned out as well as it did?
Oh, absolutely. It was great. And it takes a village. I like taking credit for most of that just because it was maybe my idea to start with. But, and yeah, Micki already said next April, so I guess she's already got a calendar out. Everybody,
it's called Springfest. There's not very many months we cannot do it.
Well, everybody but me has said, yes, we're definitely doing it. So, yes, I guess we're definitely doing it.
All right, it's official.
That's right. So we have a great podcast that's already committed to coming back and helping in the early days of planning. We had the school system, Castleberry ISD, the superintendent and all of her fine people came together and worked their tail off, brought in lots of great volunteers. The YMCA provided tons of volunteers. It just made everything look great. All I had to do was bring the weather. So
yeah. Couldn't have done it without your
great
weather.
cars. We had 2 giant car shows going on at the same time. So for us to get over 200 cars with the same weekend as the Pate Museum swap meet, which now has a car show in conjunction with that. That's probably a 50-year-old, second largest swap meet in the nation. So people come from all over for that. So that was definitely not planned that way. I started planning our event way in advance so we wouldn't clash with any major car shows. And there was that one and another one that were both huge car shows, along with the sprinkling of the others. And so to get as many cars and the quality of cars that we got out was fantastic. And we had the Wienermobile. I just can't
I was
get
so
over
proud of
that
that.
one. And I understand you interviewed the
hot doggers.
Yes,
They
very
were
cool.
great.
I'm proud of you for remembering that. I keep
So-
wanting to call them the weenie people, which
Yeah.
is totally, I don't even think that's politically correct, but
So, and I don't know how many, did either of you tour the inside of the...
I got a little bit of video in there, and then I got super disappointed when I saw that other people had taken pictures sitting inside of it, and I'm like, well, I could have done that, but I did get a very good video of the inside of the vehicle, and I took a look at the roof, and I think there's clouds painted on the
sky painted on the top, and the bottom, the floor is painted like a big wiener with mustard spilled across it and all that, and everything is a pun.
I know, yeah. And in the episode for episode 85, you can hear me just cracking up because those girls it was just one pun after another, and it was hilarious. And I'm a big goofy shit anyway, so it was it was easy to crack me up. But yeah, and that was an incredible story too, because they start off. I can't remember the state that they start off in now, but they travel
I think Wisconsin.
Well, this particular one, when they called us, they said that they were going to be in Louisiana. Is it okay if we stop by?
Yeah.
We're in River Oaks, Texas. That's not like,
Exactly.
we're in Arlington. We're going to come on by. We're
Right.
in the, same county or whatever. But yeah, I understand now. I knew nothing. And then after learning they were coming, I got on YouTube and looked up, and really interesting story, and I won't go into that since you obviously interviewed them, but there's 6 of them nationwide that go around. But when we first announced it, immediately we got somebody from Waco that was going to come up and bring their grandkids because they saw the Wienermobile in the 50s and they wanted to bring their grandkids. Somebody else came from Oklahoma City. Here we've got millions of dollars worth of show cars.
Everybody's
and we're traveling this, and I tell you, there was one person that made some kind of a smart aleck remark about why that's a big deal coming. But I tell you what, when it rolled in to Camp Carter, there's all this commotion of
Everyone stopped.
Everybody's setting up booths and setting up their cars, and the Wienermobile pulls in, and everybody stopped and turned and pointed. And I guarantee you, there was nothing but smiles in the house, and myself, I just chuckled. I just couldn't, you just don't see that driving down the road.
No, and I mean, like you said, to see it in a picture or an image is one thing, but whenever it comes rolling up, right. And I saw it come in too, and I'm like, "Oh, the Wiener Mobile!" Everybody was excited. Again. It was so cool, and really, I'd like to see the thing blown apart on a blueprint so I could see the mechanics of it because it's just so wild looking.
Yeah. And at one time, it was made out of a motorhome. Now they've gone back, and this and the prior generation were both made off of more like a step van platform, because the motorhome one, they would go to places like Camp Carter and hit trees, and they had limitations. Yeah. But I tell you, the best thing I heard researching all that was some of the hot doggers being interviewed talking about how cool it is driving down the freeway going somewhere, and you're just driving down the freeway and everybody's honking and waving and pointing and taking your picture. And he said, but then when you have to get off the freeway, it doesn't matter if you need gas. It doesn't matter if you're going to a hotel. Heaven forbid you need to eat. It's 2 hours.
Take a bathroom
because whenever
break.
you get off, all of a sudden there's at least 5 or 6 cars that get off behind you to find out where you're going, and then they want to see it. So if we're pumping gas, we're still having to give tours.
Right. And you're representing the whole organization.
That's
so you
right.
can't look, hey, come on.
Yeah, you're always on.
I'm off the clock.
Yeah, and those guys are recent marketing graduates, they said. And they do it for 1 year.
I asked her that, and I was like, so this would probably be best for somebody coming out of college, like with a marketing degree or something like that as their major. And she's like, no. And so I looked it up online, and yeah, unfortunately, for those of you that didn't spend a bunch of money and go to college, you got to have a degree.
Is that right?
Yeah,
to be a hot dogger.
But it does not have to be a marketing degree.
Okay, all right.
So just to clarify that.
But what a story for the rest of your life. No matter what.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that'd be a cool family photo to have in the hallway.
All right.
Yeah, there's me when I was 22. Right. I was driving that hot dog cross country.
Yeah, so, Springfest, we've got to come up with something so you can have all your listeners call in with what hook can we have. That's a hard one to beat, to have something unique to show up this time.
Yeah, how are you going to beat that? Well, we need to get in their ear now and tell them, hey, we really appreciate you coming out. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and require you to be at next year's.
That's right.
Oh, I've already filled out the request form. I don't even know what date it's going to be, but every Saturday. Every Saturday in April.
Nice.
Because you can. If you have an event, you can request that they come. Now, they may not come.
Right.
You can go on the website.
And I can tell you that 30 years ago, we had a car show, and our major sponsor was Winn-Dixie. A lot of people don't even remember those, but grocery stores.
They had the pig, right?
They had what?
Didn't they have the pig? Wasn't that their thing?
No, that's Piggly Wiggly.
Oh,
but I remember that too. I'm telling my age now. So are you. But anyway, yeah, they were just a local, kind of semi-local regional chain, I guess. But they bought a lot of hot dogs, and one of their regional manager assured us that they could get the Wienermobile there. We weren't able to get them there.
Oh, wow.
But
then here you are. Fast forward to the River Oaks Springfest Carshow.
So, absolutely.
Yeah, that was a big moment. And then it looks like, was the North Texas Jeep Club out there? Is that who that was?
Well, there's a lot of those type clubs. This particular one, I always get it wrong, and I'm a member, so I'm really... it is the DFW-Texas Four-Wheel Drive Club. So
you nailed it.
It's Texas Four-Wheel Drive Club, but this was like the DFW chapter.
Yeah.
Great bunch of guys, and a couple of them are from here in River Oaks. Shout out to Richard Anthony and Trey McCaddy. They've both become good friends of mine. We go off-roading with them, and the difference is you don't have to have a Jeep, just four-wheel drive. So therefore, my wife and I can bring our little Honda Talon four-wheel drive side-by-side to their events, and there's quite a few others of those. But
I walked past that on the way in here.
Yeah.
That thing's pretty damn cool.
It's pretty fun. We have a lot of fun with it. We enjoy traveling with it. So, But those guys, they it started, social media talking about this car show coming, and they started a little banter back and forth. One of them said, "I think I could get worst interior," and the other one said something like, "I think I can get the most scratched up fender." And I said, you guys really have some awesome rigs. They are not the show quality paint because they use them, but I said, this is all about the kids, and I think kids would really enjoy those. Yeah. I wish you'd bring them out. I think that would be great, and they did that for me, and I'm very grateful that they did. And then the club ended up doing a sponsorship as well, so we appreciate that. I was telling them, I'm sure that I can get somebody to bring some big boulders out there, and we'll park the cars, on these boulders and stuff and make them really look cool for the little kids to see. They said, "No, you don't need boulders. We got it." And then,
what they did was pretty cool. I've never seen that before.
I haven't either.
They were able to, maybe we can put a shot up there. I've got some photos of
send it to
that
me.
They put, they would park the wheel on top of each other's wheel lined up in a row, so it was pretty unique.
Yeah, you had a Jeep in the middle, and then you had a Jeep on the left or the right, and I guess the middle Jeep had his wheels cocked to the side, and then the two Jeeps on either side were using that Jeep's wheels to run up, prop up one side of the Jeep. It was wild. I just hadn't seen that, and I would have thought that the weight would be detrimental to the lower vehicle, but whatever.
And it was also parked that way all day.
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah.
And these guys, it really is so amazing to watch them in action. We go with our little side by side, and we'll struggle to get over. So every now and then we'll have something we can maneuver around them because we're small enough that we can go somewhere they can't. But then they just roll right over it. They go over boulders bigger than my car. I've never. I certainly wouldn't challenge them. Because I think they could go right over mine and smush it without any problems. But I see those guys going up. They go up hills that if I pull up to it, I would just hit it straight on like a wall. And somehow they manage to go up and over. Our last little event last weekend or weekend before, we had a guy, he's got beadlock wheels, which locked the tire to the wheel. He had a flat. And he said, "Let's go." We're sitting there trying to figure out how to get his tire changed. "Oh, let's ride." He drove for another 2 hours with a flat tire. And, not only that, he was going over things that I couldn't even fathom
with
trying to go
inflated
around.
tires.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, they run them with about 2 pounds of pressure anyway where they look flat. So the tires will wrap around these rocks and pull them up.
Yeah,
but
that's wild.
But they are a great bunch of guys, and I'm very appreciative that they came out to help with our event.
Where do they do this kind of stuff whenever they get together to go rock climbing and stuff? Well,
they have a big event every year. It's kind of where we originally met them. One of my neighbors was going and mentioned it to us. They have a mega run, which is a big rally out in East Texas at a place in Gilmer, Texas called Barnwell Mountain Recreation Area. And it is thousands of acres of off-road. And then they go there and they, not only is there just group off-road rides and all that, but they do things like barrel races, just like the horses do. They'll set up barrels and
that's hilarious.
Race. They have a rock garden that has rocks the size of automobiles that they, not only do they go over them, which I couldn't even go across it, but they time it to see who can go over it the fastest. And then they have King of the Hill and some other really serious hill climbing type challenges that make all of it not only fun to participate, but it's fun to watch your buddy. Like myself, I can't go over that rock garden, couldn't even fathom it, but I really enjoy watching my friend win it. One of these guys, both of those guys I was mentioning, both won at that event this year. But we went to Oklahoma this last trip. First time I've ever been there with them. We've been several times, but Crossbar Ranch is a place in Davis, Oklahoma, owned by Davis, Oklahoma, a smart little small town that's wise enough to take some of their resources and use it in a good way. So it's the same people that own Turner Falls.
Okay. Is that a water park?
Yes. So that's owned by the city of Davis, and the adjoining land right next to it is 6,500 acres that they've made into an off-road park. So they've got some RV spots there. You can come out there and park and spend the weekend riding. They actually have an on-site facility where you can rent razors. And in fact, Micki and her husband and my son and daughter-in-law, we all went out there, I guess, probably last year about this time. We went out there and took ours and then rented a 4-seater for them, and everybody kind of took turns riding. And
man, that sounds like a blast.
It is.
And did y'all
ready
have
to
an
go
RV
whenever you're ready to go?
Okay. Well, I got a lot of extra time on my hands lately.
This time next week we'll be at Mount Rushmore with ours. So
when y'all went up to Oklahoma for you said the Davis what did you call that park?
Crossbar Ranch.
Crossbar Ranch. Did y'all take your own RV?
We did.
Yeah.
We have a toy hauler, which is like a travel trailer that the back door rolls down, and we actually drive it inside. And so
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's what we do there. There are some, I think, when Micki and them came with us, might have been before we had the RV even. There's some right outside of the park. There's a private place there that rents some cabins out there. So it's close enough that you can rent those cabins and still drive your off-road vehicle to the park without, having a trailer.
That's really
whatever,
cool.
So.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, and there's a few of them around. There's one down in Marble Falls called Adventure Falls that we enjoy, and it has RVs and quite a few cabins there. Same kind of thing. So
these toys are so expensive, though. I don't think I would ever be able to take a, off the factory floor. It's $40. By the time you get done with your aftermarket suspension, tires, and all the other gizmos, you got an $80,000 vehicle that you're just, rocking around on giant boulders and facing imminent destruction in a roll cage with your 5-point harness. I mean, I don't know. Surely there's no insurance that covers that. Right.
Well,
is Jake at State Farm going to answer with a smile on his face when I call him and tell him I just rolled that thing down a hill?
Well, I've already totaled one. So we had a Can-Am that shocked me. I mean, we hit a rock and took it to the shop to see about what it was going to cost. And they said, you need to call your insurance company. I said, I was off-roading in a 4-wheel drive vehicle, and it was a fluke thing where the rock actually cracked the gear housing, and it was just that this one particular thing, the mechanic said, of all things to do to this one vehicle, they're easy to work on, but you really have to take everything apart, take the whole engine out, put it on the bench, rebuild it all, put it all back together. And so basically the labor of doing all that is there's very few things you could do that would just total this. But he said,
you found it.
I think this is going to be total. You need so call the insurance company, and they covered it. And that shocked me. I thought, they said, they cover them for flood. You take it and drive it into a lake and you're going to pay for. So they did not, Progressive Insurance, shout out to them, man. This is in the middle of COVID, and I literally had a check in my hand within a week after having that looked at. I mean, they really got somebody out there immediately, and that was our salvation, because when everybody was on lockdown, man, we were out there getting away from everybody. And really that was our way of getting away from it all.
That's awesome. So before we move on, the River Oaks Springfest Carshow, last thing I wanted to bring up, it's a really healthy metric to talk about the success of the show. The food trucks. There was a food truck that came out to this thing, and they sold out within the first few hours. They had no more food to give anybody. They had like one item, but nobody wanted it.
Yeah.
And I talked to them, like, what happened? They're like, well, we just had no idea the turnout was going to be like this.
We didn't either.
Yeah, nobody did. Nobody could have anticipated it. So anyway, the food trucks next year will be much more prepared than they were this year. But
more of them. We had.
Yeah.
So Micki does a great job of taking care of her vendors in that she makes sure there's not
repeats.
5 vendors selling the same product.
Right.
So she limits,
And that includes food trucks. I'm not going to have 2 barbecue trucks. I'm not going to have 2 whatever. Right. And we had 5 food trucks lined up and only 3 showed up. So, and that happens. That totally happens, and it's not a big deal. Yeah. But suddenly there was an issue about 1 p.m. that we're going to have fixed.
And we had other people that wanted to set up and sell things. Specifically the school district had some fundraisers, and we went to them early on and said, this is going to be a great event. We're going to bring people here. If you've got, if you want to set up like carnival booths and all that to where you can raise money, we will give you the booth space. No problem. We'd love to have you there.
Absolutely.
Well, that's what they kind of all wanted to do was
a concession
sell
stand.
concession type stuff. And we
And I said
turned
no.
them down, which we wouldn't have.
If you had known,
But we were protecting.
2 no-shows.
Yeah. And so, 2 of them didn't show up. But those things always happen. They had greener pasture somewhere else, they thought.
Yeah.
And we certainly had a lot of others that wanted to do it. So next year it won't be a problem. We already have some people lined up that really wanted to do it this time.
Well, I hope you get to bring those Cajun folks back because I really wanted to try their food.
I didn't have any of that either. And I saw somebody had this bowl that just looked fantastic. And I asked him, where did you get that? He says, this is the very last bowl.
Oh, no.
They scraped the bottom to give this to me, and they shut the window and started locking up. I said, you're kidding me.
Yeah. I went over there. I thought people were out of their minds because I don't remember what the other food truck was, but it was right next to the Cajun place or trailer. And I'm coming up to that thing, and I'm thinking, well, they're either closed or these people are out of their minds because the line should be here, right, in front of that trailer. So I walked over there pretty much anticipating that they were out, closed. Something was up.
Right.
So my disappointment was already taken care of before they told me that they were out. But, yeah, I hope they make it out next year. That would be great.
Yeah.
We'll definitely look for that one. I know. Well, no use mentioning what didn't show up anyway. But we did have a little variety and all that lined up. But you can never second guess any of it.
Yeah. Well, you let me know when we're going to start advertising for this thing. We're going to do it even bigger this coming year.
I think it's going to be exciting. The everything about it. I've done car shows. I was figuring it out the other day. I did my first car show 35 years ago. And, always the first one is the hardest. And if you have a success, which this one by all means, talking to the people attending the car show, there was mistakes made.
Sure.
We learned from our mistakes and all that, but everybody has reported back to me they can't wait. First of all, they start asking for a fall show. Well, that's not going to happen. But
come on.
So
Not this year, at least.
Yeah.
So next year will be. I really anticipate it'll be a thing of either us having any limits, how many come and selling out kind of scenario, other than the fact that beautiful facility at Camp Carter, it just looks like we could keep coming up with places to put more cars. So I don't think that's an issue. It's a matter of the logistics that we went through this time of getting the cars registered, getting the cars all judged, and some of those logistical problems that I thought I had already experienced enough times to not have that issue.
Yeah.
We had some of those issues, but
So to our people that brought classic cars out to this event, understand that we know there were issues, and those will not happen this next year.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
that's right. Probably be new ones, but we won't go there.
Well, there's always going to be issues with an event this size.
Yeah,
it's how you
that's right.
handle them and how you try and fix them is what makes a difference.
Yeah.
Learn from our mistakes.
Yeah. Were there enough toilets? This isn't an issue I ran into.
It was or was not?
Was not. I
Okay.
just wonder.
I don't think so.
I didn't see any big lines.
We got 4 more than what I thought we needed.
Okay.
We ordered an extra 4, the request of YMCA, and I have not.
Plus the ones YMCA has on.
Yeah, they have. I'm
the
sure.
grounds.
I'm sure they have several on the grounds that weren't even used because people weren't really there, but they
Right.
had regular. They have very good restroom facilities.
Yeah, they
already.
do. They do.
So half of it, we went and had signs made with just arrows saying restroom, so people would be aware that they were there.
Yeah.
So I don't know how well that worked out, but once again, that's kind of where we're planning on meeting back together here pretty soon.
Right.
And kind of going over everything and learning our mistakes and
Right.
find out, like I say, I know some things that went wrong, and luckily the public that I've talked to
Didn't see it.
doesn't realize that.
Yeah.
if you were at the award ceremonies, you saw me stumbling a lot because of some of our registration problems that snowballed throughout the day of something as simple as having a number registered to a car and then all of a sudden trying to hand out an award and not know
which car.
Who owns the car?
Car number 41 won something. I don't know what the car is or who owns it.
Now, the best in show car, that black Lincoln, was so pretty.
Is that one that had that really deep paint? Like it was just...
I think so,
yeah,
right?
My understanding is it was, it's black.
Just 47 Lincoln.
1947. It looked like it came in from the showroom. And if you actually read the guy's description to really appreciate what it was a true barn find, meaning that... And I don't know the real history. There's a lot happened since reading that one sign, but... this is a car that was put away somewhere and unburied with 2 inches of dust on it and cleaned up and meticulously gone back through and polished and all that, but it was not a restored car.
Oh, wow.
It was a car that was in original condition.
Damn.
And a lot of people don't understand that. Somebody asked, how in the world did a 1947 car beat this beautiful car that just came out of full restoration? Well, from a judge's standpoint, I was a judge for many years with the Texas Show Car Association, and that's part of what you do is that there is a value put on a car original. That has the original paint on it with a scratch or two.
Yeah. Versus
can't
a perfect
be bought
paint job.
Versus if you got enough money, you can put an awesome paint job on anything.
Right.
The cost of that nowadays is staggering to most people, but $20,000 for a show car paint job is not outrageous in this day and age.
Well, it's $8,000 to get it primer grade, right?
Right, that's right. So that is why we now see the new trend in patina. Rusted looks good now, doesn't it?
Yeah. This is real popular.
Right.
Shake my word for it. Yeah. Well, before we get too far away from Artful Village, you guys shared the story with me whenever we were kind of looking through the what I'll call the auxiliary building over there at the Roofing Solutions by Darren Houk, and I wanted to share that with the listeners because that's a pretty cool story, and it's awesome that it's still going on today. It's moved from one shell to another, but it carries on. So you guys took this extra space and made it into what Artful Village one day became.
Yes. So you want to start?
I'll start it out.
Because he started it.
So we had the property there where our roofing company is, and for those that haven't seen it, we have 3 different separate buildings there.
He owns them all.
And
very small buildings, but there's 3 of them. We got about an acre there in River Oaks, and my wife and I had been to Green down in the hill country, like where Green Hall is, and I guess started there seeing some of these old buildings that had been turned into rental space with different shops with these handmade items and sometimes antiques and stuff, but usually this handmade market. We went to Austin, has what they call the Austin Flea, which is a unique concept where I think it was like one Saturday a month, like the first Saturday of every month, they would go to a bar, and then on Friday night, the bar would move all their furniture over to one side and make it opened up. And Saturday morning, they would have this pop-up market with all these handmade jewelry and art and different things like that. And we had gone through the phase of having a rental property there where we would fix up the building, not knowing who would rent it. So you fix it up kind of generically and all that. And then somebody moves in, they stay there for a year. They try their luck at their business. I think in every case I'm thinking of, the businesses ultimately just failed for no reason having to do with location. But so what happens is, towards the end most of the time, or it seems like everything we had it rented to, it would, they struggle and then end up going a month without paying and then leave in the middle of the night. And then we figure that out. We come back in, you spend a month fixing it back up. Then you spend a couple of weeks or a month getting it rented again. At the end of it all, if you break even, in my case, if we broke even on the rent, that was a lucky scenario. So we started seeing some of these and started thinking how cool it was. It was a great atmosphere. I love art. I'm not an artist, never have been. Want to be artist, want to be musician, not good at any of them. But it was a fun environment, and so we took the idea of kind of doing like a antique mall where we divided the building into small sections and rented out space.
I knew you didn't turn that off.
Who is it? Put him on speaker.
But it's Mark.
Mark Nobles.
Yes, sir.
You'll do anything to get on a podcast, won't you?
What I do?
You called in the middle of a podcast.
Are you recording?
Yes.
Mark Nobles, welcome to the Fort Worth Roots podcast.
Why'd you have your damn phone on?
You know me. Just a quick question. When you go to work tomorrow, you coming to work tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
You expecting it to be air conditioned?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
No worries then.
We're good.
Oh, there's already a problem.
I expect it to be air conditioned when I turn on the air conditioning.
Yeah, so hope that works for you. We are now doing a podcast at my house, so we didn't know if you had a secret code to turning it on or turning it down. I think we got to buy an air conditioner this week.
Uh-oh.
Tomorrow.
All right. Well,
Unless you got a remote hiding somewhere.
Yeah, do you have a remote? You don't use a remote for that, do you?
no. It's just an on and off and an up arrow and a down arrow.
Yeah, none of those work, by the way. Took me about 3 punches to get it turned on. We left. It didn't ever cool down. It's now running as we speak at 85 degrees.
Oh.
So I guess are you back in town?
I'm 20 miles outside of Dublin.
Okay, well, give me a Dr. Pepper. Oh, you can't do that. I'll just have to go to Grump's. Never mind. See ya.
Ask him if he's got any public
All
events
right.
coming up.
You got any public events coming up?
No, I do not.
All right, we'll check back.
You should. We would have been plugging you.
I know.
Or since you don't, we'll act like we would have.
All right, y'all have fun.
Safe travels. Thank you, man. Bye.
I just open the window tomorrow at work.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do that. All right. See ya.
Bye.
95-degree window.
Yeah, they're all plate glass windows, so they don't open.
Yeah.
So good luck with that. So sorry, got some editing for you to do there, bud.
Well, some of it will get edited out, but
You should keep some of that.
I like random stuff like that. Who was it that walked in on us? We got the mailman, and then your son walked
My
in.
son, Ryan.
Last time we were over at the office.
Yes.
I like that
Shout
stuff.
out to Ryan Houk.
And then in between that and now, he's had a couple of professional develop moments, hasn't he? Didn't he just get promoted?
Yeah, I think he's taking his test for E5, and excuse me if I get this wrong, but I believe that's correct. He is taking his test for E5 and not, I guess, got the official word back yet.
Yeah.
But knows that he did quite well on it. But he was awarded the Blue Jacket Award.
What is that?
I don't exactly
That's
know,
okay.
but it's very rare. I talked to another Navy friend of mine, shout out to Phil, and he told me that there's only like 4 a year, once a quarter, so
Okay.
4 times a year.
Per command, or?
No, I mean, Ryan was saying other people that got it were in Colorado Springs, and so I think it's 4
Oh,
nationwide,
okay.
if I
Wow.
understand right, anyway. But he's accelerated really fast, and I'm really proud of him.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Proud Papa moment. So
Absolutely.
anyway, well, I guess we can
We
head
had made it up
where you
to-
want to the Artful Village. I was
Yeah.
stretching it out way too far. So the bottom line is we divided the place up and started renting it out to once a month on a given, like the first Saturday of every month. We had this art show where vendors would come in. We did things unique to our place in that I furnished tables and tablecloths and all that, so it had a little bit of a uniform look. But these vendors that are doing pop-up shows everywhere could leave their pop-ups at home. They could come in, set up on the tables and tablecloths that we had for them there. So a little bit less work on them was part of the idea. We had air conditioning. Then we got the idea. There was a little backyard area that I put fences up and ultimately built a little stage in the back, and we had a little bit of a little break area back there. Next thing you know, people are wanting to be there, and so we've put vendor booths out there. It went on for several years. I think that newspaper article we read, I think it was 2014.
That or 13, right? I think so.
I think it was 13.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I have to go back on
that. Because we said 8 years, so it was 14.
It would have been 14. You're right. You're right.
Okay. So, back to the original thing, when we were kind of going around looking at these places, we kind of started counting out, what a space should rent for, and my original thoughts of one day a month, we could work one day a month and get the same amount that we would get renting it to somebody else for the year.
Right.
And I'd have more control over the property not getting destroyed and things like that.
Right.
And of course, in hindsight, you don't just work a day for a day's event. You work several days. Now there's landscaping and mowing, and I was building awnings and
advertising,
stages and advertising and all that. And it was just a really fun event that was probably not the best business model as we did it. And as you know, I'm in the roofing business and March 19th, 2016, I remember getting a phone call at 6:30 in the morning with somebody telling me they had hail hit their roof, needed me to get out there, a good friend of mine. And I said, yeah, I don't think you had that bad a hail. Hail doesn't normally hit early in the morning. And he said, well, all our skylights are busted out.
Damn.
Oh, I'll be there in a minute. So the sideline of having this other business didn't make sense. Micki had already started taking it over at that point because she was...
I was doing my student teaching.
Yeah.
And so I was working all through college. I went to school full-time and I worked full-time. But with student teaching, I couldn't work anymore. So I had to quit my job to go do this internship in order to get my degree. And I was like, what side gigs can I do? So I was making candles. We had like painting parties that I took over, and I helped with that, and then took over the Artful Village from there. And we did close it at that building, but then we call them the Shirleys at the community center. Two women that run the community center. They're both named
Great
Shirley.
women.
And I don't remember if they approached you and I was with you, or if they just approached you and said, we'd like to do this here.
I know.
And he was like, no, I'm not going to do it. And I was like, I'll do it.
from day one, they wanted us to bring it there. Of course, we had, already put a lot of work into the building before day one. So
Sure.
The first time they saw, why don't y'all do this at the community center? It's so much bigger and so much, and it was. But so that's where Micki ended up. I guess she ran it where it was for probably a year.
Yeah.
And then it evolved into, I guess you started school again. So then doing bigger shows less often.
I started my big kid teaching job, and I did.
Right.
The first couple of years I couldn't concentrate on anything else. So
she started doing bigger shows less often, but bigger shows in other locations.
Yeah.
And like I say, I'm proud of her because I've talked to vendors that started out with our original
that moved with us to this location and stayed with us.
Right. They've been to other events, and one of them, shout out to Rhonda Burns, since I seem to be
amazing.
doing shout outs this time. She's first one to sign up, and I'm like, how'd you hear about this, or what? I'm glad to see you here. She said, if y'all are putting it on, I'm in. I know that it's going to be a good show. Y'all can do everything there is to get people here, and all you got to do is get customers. I can sell my products, and so... but anyway, there's been several people that I've had telling me about how great Micki is about not just taking the money, because people see pop up, they all think they can do it. They go, take a restaurant or whatever and start putting up awnings and selling them, but yet then you end up with 5 people selling Scentsy, and all 5 of them are mad, and then
there's nothing wrong with Scentsy, but you can't have 5
we got 8 people selling protein shakes.
Exactly. It's not fair to anybody.
So, and I've seen the same thing with car shows where everybody sees one and they think they can put one on, but
sure.
But if you handle it right and actually turn some people down, it makes the other people more valuable to the customer base and to the vendors, and then they want to come back to your event next time because it's better for everybody. It's better for the consumers, and the consumers now know that when Micki emails them, says there's a show, they want to be there. So
yeah.
That's my goal, at least. That's my goal.
So, do you have another step to that? Do you have what's your ultimate goal with this? Do you see yourself putting on some kind of crazy event in the future, or do you just want to continue to build a reputation with
Springfest was for sure the biggest event I've done, and I wasn't sure if it was going to go well. It went well, and I'm more confident now.
Yeah.
So I would like to do more. We had sort of talked about even approaching other cities or approaching and doing a similar, like offering to put on similar events in other communities. But I'm totally open to that. And so yeah, my husband and I do vendor shows all the time as vendors with our company Woodpost Metalworks, and we sell metal signs. And so finding good shows is hard to do, and so I try really hard to make sure we're one of those good shows.
No,
I want that reputation.
Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off. I
No,
didn't mean
please
to do that. I was just going to bring up that I saw you guys at Arts Goggle. Woodpost Metalworks was there, and the first thing, of course, everybody saw.
You saw Dino.
As soon as you come around the corner, you're like, dinosaur! Look it. And
Wasn't that cool?
It was so cool.
He sold within the first hour too. I was really afraid we were going to have to take that stupid thing home because it's so big.
Well,
But that's the second one.
That's the second one we sold at Arts Goggle. So.
And you said because the way it's put together is in pieces, but that's tack welded together.
It is.
So you're not taking that apart.
It looks. No, you cannot.
Yeah.
It looks like
And if
one of
you're
those
me, you're
wooden.
not lifting it either.
No.
Tell me
It
either.
looks like one of those 3D puzzles that you glue together, the wood ones, but it's metal, and we welded it together.
Yeah, it's a solid piece.
It is. It's a solid
Yeah.
piece.
My smart idea was, set 2 up and then have all the rest of them stacked in boxes. But
I would totally do that. I just don't know how many people
sell
weld.
the puzzle. Sell the puzzle, but when you drop a part, you got a broken toe.
Yeah,
Oh, that's true too.
that's
true
one
too.
idea. You could just have like a crate kit. Like we've put this together for you. However, you can save $5 by tack welding it yourself. Right?
Have fun.
And then
See you in a
one
year.
of my favorites, if you look there on the cliff,
My Bigfoot.
you'll see.
Oh, yeah.
You got the Bigfoot. They've got a life size one now.
We make
that
them
was
up
probably
to-
the first one you built, wasn't it?
That was the first one with yardsticks that we'd built by request.
Grabbing the camera because we're robbing the audience. And Tanya, I'm sorry. I know Darren's looking at some of the stuff on the patio going, oh.
Is the fire pit on the patio too?
But this is the best view in River Oaks / Fort Worth.
Did you see the fire
Right
pit
here.
they made me? To the straight in front of you.
I don't know.
Oh,
if you, I don't know if you
yeah.
can see
It's
it.
got junk
Well,
on it.
I don't think this camera's going to do it any justice, but
That's okay.
yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's they can do those for others, but it's as you know, I've got the 72 Suburban, so one end of it is a 72, like a 72 C10 truck. Is what one end of the pit is, and then it's got a.
Well, because of yours, we just did two front ends because
Right.
you don't have a truck. You
If
have
you'll
a Suburban.
Mickey, if you'll send me some pictures of that, I'll put it up on the
absolutely
YouTube
will.
video.
I absolutely will.
That's a big one with the Jeep guys. They have one that has the Jeep grill on one end, but it makes a great fire pit.
Y'all were
I
in the
really
metal.
enjoyed it.
Y'all were in the middle of a cell of one of those Jeep grills. Whenever
Yeah,
I
we sold one.
walked up.
Okay.
Yeah, we brought one, thinking that we would either sell it at Arts Goggle, and if not, Springfest was the next weekend where there was going to be a ton of Jeeps. So I figured
They
would
lost
sell one of
out.
those.
They
They did.
Well, now what's cool about those too, even mine, is that they actually have pins where you could
Oh, right.
pull it apart and they
Yeah.
would fold flat.
You can break that
for-
down.
Yeah,
It still
so-
weighs 50 pounds, but
It does.
Right.
at least it's not taking up volume.
It does. But if you wanted to put it away for the summer, you could.
Right. Or take it on a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just really heavy.
Well, where can people find your stuff at Woodpost Metalworks?
Woodpostmetalworks.com is our website. That's going to be the cheapest place that you can find things. We are also on Etsy and eBay and Amazon and all that stuff. But our shop is in Eagle Mountain Lake area. And so we also do like custom business signs. We've done a few of those. We do fence and gate work, privacy panels, anything with metal. My husband can figure out how to make it work.
Okay.
He's done an awesome job.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of him.
And y'all do CAD?
I mean, you were like, can you make a trophy? And he goes, yeah, sure, I can make a trophy.
I got to send you the beard trophy.
That's
Got photos of that.
I don't guess I've seen it yet.
Well, the guy had to get on a plane, and I guarantee you his award.
I think he ended up leaving it because he was from the UK, and he's like, I can't get this back home, so we're gonna try and figure out how to get it to him.
Oh,
See that refrigerator?
It was.
That's about the size.
It was 40
my
inches
God.
tall, so it was hefty. It was big.
Dang.
I mean, he tried to
Very
lift it
cool.
over his head, and he couldn't do it.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
It was huge. It was
But
really
that
cool.
was the goal. They told us, they said, we want you to make a trophy, but we want you to make it difficult for someone to get on a plane. And
Manly.
Ryan's like, okay, I can do that.
Challenge accepted.
And that speaks to the show. I was kind of unaware of all that, but it's a big enough show that people come from all over for it, and the beard showed, like I say.
Well, there were some, I call them trophy chasers. They just, I'm sure their house is full of beard trophies, but they have impressive beards. I can't. Get it.
Are they going to do it again next year?
They are. I don't know when, if it's going to stay in. This is the first time they did May. They usually do it in December. I hope they stay in May.
Okay.
But it was hot, so I don't know.
I'll start growing this bad boy.
And
out.
that was the last event at Lola's before they moved to
Right.
their new location.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But you said they're going to be opening up in about a week at the new
That's
location?
what the bartender told me. I don't know how.
We'll keep an eye out.
But of course, she has to work, so I'm sure she knows when she's going to go back to work.
Yeah.
right, and it may not be, even their current one is not.
I can't see it being longer than a month. I can't.
Well, I'm saying the location they had didn't happen overnight, so
No.
it may be that they're open in one form, but not the same thing that we might see a year from now.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
And then Fred's is open now.
Yeah.
We lost Fred's over there off the 7th Street area, but it has recently opened up at just off of Camp Bowie. And what's that cross street? Is that 377?
Altamira,
Altamira?
which kind of becomes 377.
Yeah.
But Altamira and Highway 80 or Camp Bowie West, depending on how long you've been here.
Right.
And it is the old Steak and Ale building.
Yeah.
It has most recently been Buffalo West, I believe.
Yes.
I didn't know it was a steak and ale, but I was walking around that thing because I had some time to kill.
Yeah.
If you were
Took
there
a while to get in.
yeah, if you were there for the first weekend, you had to wait 2 hours to get a burger,
gosh.
but it was worth it. Whatever.
Right.
I feel like it was worth it. It was worth my time anyway.
Good.
And so I'm walking around and stuff, and I walked in there and I asked the guy looked like a manager. I was like, "This used to be a steak place, didn't it?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think you're right."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and the last venue put in a great outdoor stage
Yeah,
area,
yeah.
and then an enclosure. So that's what I love about it. I love going to Fred's to hear the live music.
Yeah.
So they have a better place to do it now than they had before. So I think and parking.
Yeah, there's some
That's what
parking.
happened to the other Fred's,
Yeah.
basically, and I'm sure there's apartments going in its place.
Yeah,
but-
there's a long street there that you can park on, and they've got overflow parking and primary parking, and then there's businesses around the corner that you could probably park in without
yeah,
getting
businesses that
towed. Probably don't
are
get-
slowed down about the time they pick up. So,
Right,
yeah.
right. Probably not getting towed out of there. But, I don't like change. I hated it when I heard that Fred's was closing down over there, but they did a lot of things to accommodate people like me, like the truck that was on the corner over there at their old location.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It had a tree growing through it. Well, they moved the truck. I guess they couldn't salvage the tree, but they planted the same type of tree inside the truck.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
I
that's
did not know
awesome.
that.
So that's one big planter that's just full of dirt, and they put a new
That's
I
cool.
like that.
little desert. Isn't that cool?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did not know that. That is
So,
cool.
as soon as I saw that, I was like, respect.
Yeah. There
you go.
Yes,
That's
that
right.
is
You understand what's
perfect.
important.
I mean, I can tell you, there's been tons of people playing there
Oh, yeah.
at the old location that I just said, no, I'm not dealing with that parking.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm just excited about this one. This will. For an old man like me, this is a perfect place to go out there and hear some music, be able to drive home, not wrestle with parking and all that kind of stuff.
With
So,
a shirt like that, Darren, you can't tell me you're feeling old today. That was way too vibrant.
this is my flameless designs from Austin, Texas.
Very snazzy.
This goes back to the Artful Village.
I have shirt envy
Days.
right now.
You have what shirt? in?
Yeah, I mean, this
Well,
is
look at
a
yours.
pretty
This is
flashy
great.
shirt
Yes.
too, but it's nothing
Get some
like
attention
that.
there.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about the burger joints. We got the other one here that we're really excited
Grumps.
about.
I've been talking about Grumps nonstop.
Oh man!
And today is the
such a-
first day that they've had parking.
That's right. We pulled right through there. Could have parked anywhere we want.
Because today is Memorial Day and they are closed.
And they're all resting, man. I'm telling you what, they are. I talked to the owner. I guess it was last Saturday, and it was like, he was talking about, well, we're having to close at 8. We're having to close an hour early just so we can get ready for the next day.
Right.
He said, we're not geared for this. We're realistic. We know that this is only temporary while everybody has been
Talking about the amount of traffic.
The amount of traffic,
Yeah.
yes. He said, we strive, we take pride in the fact that we don't have frozen meat. Everything's fresh. He said, we start the day every day with our refrigerators are completely full of meat, and we have to go buy meat in the middle of the day because
crazy.
We don't have enough refrigerators. We don't have enough grills. We're not prepped for this, and it's like, you don't remodel in the second week to make it because we know it's not going to stay that way. But we just hope that their patience will hold out because it's kind of about a 30-minute wait now to get a burger even after 2 weeks, but everybody seems to be happy with it. The people running it from the top all the way down are just great people.
You catch that vibe when you walk in. They're just it's there. It's tangible.
And I tell you, they're hiring. So if anybody out there is looking, I don't have any idea what they pay or how they treat their people.
Not that we tell you on this show anyway.
But when you walk in there, you can just look, and they're all happy. They're having a good time.
Legitimately.
And I can tell you that I've known of people, I wouldn't say they're like my friends, but I've known people that have been there for over a decade. So they must be taking care of their people. Yeah. So,
well, it's a trickle-down effect. Anytime you see that kind of behavior out of a staff, it comes from top down. That just shows really good leadership and a positive environment that's being fostered by the people that make the rules, and that's how that works. So that's all on Collier there.
And we got to get Collier on your show. Well, I've hounded him a lither because I just think he's got a good story.
He's busy. I know he's busy, so I'm waiting. The next time I can come by Grump's and it's not a holiday and there's this parking spot, I might consider giving him a call. But I know he's busy right now, and he doesn't need to be talking to some nerdy podcaster. We'll wait. Well,
I feel that way. I told him the other day, I said, you make it awfully hard to be your best customer. I said, golly, I can't take off this much time to go have a burger every day. I really thought by, week 2, everybody here would know this. Hey, he's special. I'm not special there. So,
yeah.
But it's good for River Oaks. River Oaks is growing a lot, and we're going through some positive changes, and he's a big part of that. So,
yeah.
I'm excited for him, and I'm excited for us as a community as well.
Yeah.
So,
yep. Needed a little bit of fresh blood in the system there. A lot of these very established businesses could use a boost, and bringing in new life like that doesn't do anything to hurt them. It only encourages people to frequent the area. So it draws in business for these older established businesses too.
Yep, that's right.
So that's good for the community, and I'm glad to see it. And what was that, a Chicken Express there before they...
Yeah, it was a Chicken Express.
So the old Grumps, the Grumps building is the old Chicken Express. I mean, they completely redid it.
Yeah, they more than doubled the space. It seats 100 now, and I think it maybe sat like 12. Yeah.
It was small.
3 or 4 little booths is all that it had.
And I don't remember it having that much parking either, so there must have been like a field still. It wasn't paved or something.
Well, there was a big green belt that actually Collier went and... a lot of people looked at it and didn't buy because of that. I think Collier was the first one that reached out, found out Taco Bell owned it, and he went to Taco Bell Corporation, explained to him, I'm not selling tacos, I'm not selling burritos. Why don't you sell me some land to build a parking lot?
Nice.
And came to an agreement with them, and that's where economic development in River Oaks came in and helped him a little bit, which was a great investment on our part.
Sure.
But, he bought a little... piece of land there that wasn't doing anybody any good. It was just a little greenbelt area, and left a little bit of greenbelt, but probably doubled the parking lot size, which is not quite enough right now, but I think it'll be very adequate a couple of months from now when they get a little bit caught up.
So next time somebody's driving down a street in River Oaks and they go over a spot that used to be a pothole, they can thank a hamburger.
That's right.
There you go.
And don't even bring that up in this city. But we have plenty of potholes, but they're getting to them all.
They are. They're getting better. I mean, it looks like Frankenstein when you go down Meandering.
Yes.
But is that's the one that goes directly into the base?
Yes.
Meandering? Yeah.
And So I first heard 13 years ago they're redoing that. I have probably been to 20 meetings now. The new word is, been lots of debates and everything else as to what they're doing. It's going to be great. It looks like now 2024.
Are they still going forward with the traffic circle?
As of this week?
I'll scratch that. If you don't want that on the podcast, we can scratch it.
No, that's fine. It has been changed. It's going to be a 4-way stop sign.
Okay. All right. It's going to make some people happy.
Yeah. Currently, a lot of people. Currently, it's 4 lanes of traffic. They're changing that to be 2 lanes with a center turn lane. So 3 lanes, and then your federal dollars at work make everything better. So the only way that the federal government will build a road is what they tell me now. Right? Is a 6-foot sidewalk on the south side of the street and a 10-foot multi-use bike path on the other side.
Yeah.
So I think in the long run, that's going to make the street beautiful. I think people are going to love it. Right now, not everybody's excited about having a 10-foot wide. It's kind of like everybody wants to have a 10-foot bike path across the street from them where they can use it, but not necessarily in their front yard.
Right.
I think when it's all said and done, I think all of us will be very thankful for it. I just hope that I live to see it completed.
Right. And you mentioned that last time we recorded, it's going to feed into the Trinity Trails.
Yes.
Or bring you close to it.
Close
anyway.
to it. That's part of the thing that's kind of amazing about it. But, so right now people do ride the road to get to the Trinity Trails.
Right.
But
this will get them off the street.
This will go to about probably a half mile from the trails.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, a lot of what's going on, I don't really even know the source, whether it's the Trinity River Vision or what that's put in the new bike trails. We have a beautiful bike trail right here that starts at the bottom of this hill and goes around Inspiration Point all the way around the lake to where the boat ramp is at the 820 bridge.
It's crazy.
So that's 10-foot wide as well. It comes along and it will connect in when they do the next phase of that. It will come. I don't know how to explain all this. It will cut through that area we're talking about. So instead of riding your bike, what's currently going on is people are parking at the parking lot for Inspiration Point, where there is a very well-known, not BMX, what do you call the off-road bicycles? Mountain bikes.
Okay.
Excuse me.
I was like, trail?
I'm told that there's like the second largest or second most populated mountain bike park.
Have you been down in there?
Right there. I've been through there. I haven't really been on it like riding. Like at one point there's a Volkswagen that's buried that people jump over. So if you're looking at one direction, you see a Volkswagen. If you're coming down the hill, you just fly over it, evidently.
I'm going to have to go for a walk.
All right.
Yeah.
I know there, I vaguely remember there being a vehicle down there, but I thought it was just some old rusted truck. But maybe it's a VW.
Well, this is second, third hand, fourth hand. So
do you have
could be wrong?
And if not, it's totally fine. But it would just be cool if we could put up a visual of the improvements you're talking about. Do you have a engineer's illustration of this yet?
I have it of Meandering Road.
Yeah. That's what if you got that, if you could share it.
I think it has a roundabout on it.
Okay.
So
there's the roundabout.
But yeah, so where Meandering Road is, a lot of people are familiar with it. If you're familiar with River Oaks and you've gone to Burgers Lake or YMCA Camp Carter
or Westgate for the
Eastgate.
JRB NAS JRB car as well.
That's right. Yes. So where you come up, where the new Grumps is at the corner of River Oaks Boulevard and Roberts Cutoff. And if you go on Roberts Cutoff and go north from there, there's it veers off to the left, a Y in the road, if you will, and that's Meandering Road. So that goes on down to the base where it forks at the base. You go straight to the base, or go right to Camp Carter. Right there, they're going to put a roundabout in, which is one of the most confusing intersections in the Metroplex now. So it's like probably the best case scenario for where a roundabout should go.
Yeah.
Where it currently, that Y in the road at Roberts Cutoff, what's interesting there that has been mentioned at 30 meetings, but nobody seems to hear it. Meandering Road will go straight to Roberts Cutoff at that point. So later future development, the other thing that's been in the works for a long time that is coming is 183, which is also River Oaks Boulevard. That is going to be redone from Fred's, the Benbrook Traffic Circle. So they're redoing, that's 183, so that's River Oaks Boulevard if you think about it. Altamere, it's all the same thing. So they're redoing the one place that's had a roundabout for many, many years. That roundabout's going away.
Wow.
And they're redoing 183 from there all the way to Jacksboro Highway, 199.
Okay. Wow.
So then when
Are they going to put a tunnel or a bridge there and take that roundabout out?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but
wild.
you know, they say that's the worst case scenario.
And there's nothing in there, right? There's nothing on that green space.
Not a thing.
There's just a huge
green. You could put a football field in the middle of it, I'm sure.
That's a big ass roundabout.
And so there's no tell. And if you think about it, I mean, that's some expensive real estate too. And I don't know, or should be, but they're taking the clover leaves away from Ridgemar Mall, or where I-30 and Altamere come together. Here's all this worthless information I have. It's what it gets for being on city council and
that's all right.
economic development. But they're doing away with that as well.
Yeah.
And so all that's going to get redone. 199 Jacksboro Highway is being redone from downtown Fort Worth to all the way to the lake of Lake Worth, through the city of Lake Worth.
Yeah, I've seen some of that. I think they've already got all the columns set for that bridge.
Right. Yes, but it's going to come all the way it's going to come all this way. Of course, they need it. There's major traffic jam with all the growth out in Azle and all that. But North Texas here, it's the statistics are pretty amazing. The federal government is spending billions in the B's, billions of dollars on infrastructure in North Texas. We're getting way more than the lion's share of the nation's budget in the next 10 or 15 years. It's pretty amazing. But, of course, we're now seeing this growth where you realize real quick that we're going to need it worse than most, too, because more people are coming here to use it every day.
Yeah. If you don't have a house yet, you might be out of luck.
Right.
It's that's
getting crazy.
Well, Micki, do y'all have a brick and mortar location? You gave me a location earlier, but is that just kind of y'all's home studio?
No, we have a shop. It's not like retail spaces, and we don't have stuff there for sale. But anyone's welcome to stop by and talk to us. We have an office space there, and our shop is there. 9465 Live Oak Lane. It's right across the street from the Eagle Mountain Fire Department. Okay. Up by Eagle Mountain Lake.
So it's like we're Boat Club Road, right about where it curves to go to the boat club. So I don't know.
It's right before that. It's right before that. Yeah.
And I'll put all your information for Woodpost Metalworks in the show notes, so that they can see that. And of course, we'll have to put some information in there for Roofing Solutions by Darren Houk. I appreciate y'all doing this on a Memorial Day. But I stood Darren up Saturday. So this was our next option.
It's all right, man.
But we got Micki out of it.
I couldn't make it on Saturday, so I'm glad I was able to make it.
It's God's work we're doing here. Yeah, it was destiny. Do y'all have anything else you want to throw in the episode before we get out of here?
Not really. Just really appreciate all you're doing. I think I'm just so excited about what Fort Worth Roots is doing. I listen to it every week, except for evidently this week.
It's Memorial Day.
It dropped this morning.
I listen to it every Monday, and like I say, today was Sunday to me.
Right.
But I always look forward to it. I think that we're helping it grow a little bit, telling other people.
Yep.
But what I find unique is that you never really know what's going to be there. It's musician one time and artist next time, and now I'm not sure where I fit in there.
You're creators.
I'm a talker, so maybe you can't get to shut up.
Well, and I told Darren, we were talking about this Saturday, but I would love for you to co-host some of these episodes. I think that's really what Fort Worth Roots is missing a lot of, is just having extra personality in there. I'm about as flavorful as a saltine cracker. So, hey,
you do an excellent job.
Wouldn't hurt having some flavor in here,
And I guess we already shot it out to Collier Albright. We need to call him out, and maybe Hugh Galen over there.
Hugh and I are going to set something up. I'm going to try to get with him this week, and then Collier, my sights are on you, but sir, I'm going to wait until you have an empty parking spot for me on a Thursday around 2 p.m. Whenever I see that spot, when I see a spot open up, then I will start giving you a call or sending you an email or something.
There you
I'm
go.
not going to bug you right now while you're messing with all that. So,
all right, man. Well, we appreciate you so much.
Yeah. Well, thank y'all so much. And anytime y'all want to be on the show, of course, I say this all the time. I mean it. Y'all are always welcome on Fort Worth Roots.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for listening. We will see you next week. Peace. A very sincere thank you to Micki Windle and Darren Houk for being on the show. Mark Nobles, thanks for jumping in, dude. He kind of got ambushed. He had no idea that was going to happen. And we didn't know either, but I didn't edit it out. Why would you do that? Just more flavor for your saltine cracker dude. If you listen to the episode, you'll get that reference. Micki, thank you for being part of the show. I hope we didn't scare you off. Darren already knows what kind of shenanigans he was getting into. Y'all go check out Woodpost Metalworks. I'll have a link in the description for this episode. Again, the video will be out Tuesday at latest, but I have got to wrap this up. so I'm going to delay that, but the episode will be out on time, so that's the good part. Darren, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for coming back out. You know, you're a glutton for punishment. You did it once with me. You managed to do it to yourself again. So we want to have you on the show again as a guest and, even as a co-host anytime you want. And Mark Nobles, thanks for dropping by, brother. Could have edited that out, but didn't. So, I don't know. I liked it. What else? Roofing Solutions by Darren Houk. Roofing people. Go check that out. I'll put a link in the show notes for that. But listen, these were just two incredible people. And I was glad to have them on the show. Battle of the Beards. Sounds like that was a lot of fun. I missed it. It was the last thing they did out there at the original Lolas location. But we can catch Micki Windle's doing a lot more with the Artful Village. There'll be a link in the show notes for that. There's one coming up in October. We will be there. I'm kind of scanning through my notes here, make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, yeah, I promised you a teaser bit of information about the 100th episode coming up for Fort Worth Roots. We're doing that release party. Sat down with Chris Franks, the owner of Purple Lounge / Boulevard Brew, and it looks like we might be doing the show at that location. And what we're doing is a 100th episode release party. I am working on the details right now to figure out exactly what that means, but so far, it looks like it will be on the weekend of September 10th. And if you've been paying attention, you probably already have an idea who the 100th episode is going to be. We've got that one in the can. We're working on making that episode absolutely perfect for you. Very special guest, somebody that really wanted to have on the show, and I cannot believe that he actually sat down and talked with me. You know, you're a nerdy podcaster. No one owes you anything, but we got it. It was a great interview, and I'm not going to tell you who it is, but you can probably guess. There's pictures of it up on the Instagram, so, use your discernment, figure it out. Not really that big of a secret, but 100th episode's a big deal. It kind of legitimizes the podcast, shows everybody that we're here for the long haul. So I'm excited about it. And our friends, our Funky Panther boys out there at Panther Island Brew. Is that right? I've got show notes here. Where'd it go? Don't do this to me. Come on. Yeah. It's going to be July 15th at Panther Island Brewing. Starts at 6 p.m. It's the Funky Panther, and these guys have been named #1 podcast in Fort Worth. I'm not jealous at all. 3 years in a row. So congratulations to those dudes. If you haven't checked it out yet, you can get it on all the major streaming services. I think they promote Spotify bigly. Might be the one that they want you to go check out. I don't know. Their videos are really good. Way better than ours here. Of course, they got a full team of weirdos working on that show over there, and you only got one nerd working on this one. But their videos are awesome, and they're always out doing stuff with the community. I got to hang out with these guys recently, and they're a blast. So, and they're very sincere, hooking me up with contacts, introducing me to cool folks that operate inside the Fort Worth community, and building something positive for our community. Lots of stuff. I need to shut up. thank y'all for being here. And are there any other notes? I don't know what I'm forgetting. Micki Windle, Darren Houk, thank y'all for being part of the Fort Worth Roots podcast. Guys and gals, thank y'all for listening. Shout out to our Patreon patrons. Thank y'all for supporting the show monetarily. Not going to start blasting out the fact that we have a Patreon patron account until episode 100. I want to prove to you guys that Fort Worth Roots is going to be here for the long haul. So that was my line in the sand. That was my own personal imposed rule. Don't talk about it until you got 100 episodes under your belt. So hope y'all had a great weekend. This one was a little taxing for me, but we made it. We did it. We got through the weekend, and now it's time to start our week. Happy Monday. Again, thank y'all for being here, and I will see y'all next week. Peace.